made terrible dating decisions so that you don't have to. So get comfy whilst I tell you how I was in a relationship, or should I say mummy shit, with the stingiest man on planet Earth. This is a juicy one. When I was 19, I thought I was a lover girl. I thought, oh, I'm just so generous. No, I was an idiot whose self-esteem was in a homeless man's bum somewhere in hell. So I'm that girlfriend that's always over-giving. Oh, don't worry about me. I'll pay for this, I'll pay for that. Oh, I'll get this, I'll get that. Oh, I'm out at the moment. Do you want something? Oh, I've just seen something you really like. I'm gonna get it for you. Give. That's all I was doing, just giving myself away. So I'm in a relationship with this guy now and I'm giving. You know, don't want him to think I'm using him. Don't want to come across like a gold digger. You know, I had to prove I'm not using him for his overdraft. So I was a student and I didn't work during my 3rd year of uni. I got a weekly allowance from my dad for like groceries, you know, just to keep me alive. So this working man who's on his 2nd job after graduating will come to my uni flat and eat all the groceries in my fridge. I'll just walk to the kitchen and find him there like this. As in back arched, hand on hip, like you're 9 months pregnant. Just gulping my apple and mango juice. That's my favorite. The thing is, like, I don't actually care about that. Like, have what you want, but it's the fact that I was never offered anything. Like, he would never replace the groceries he ate, the drinks he's downing. As a matter of fact, when things run out, he would actually come with me to Aldi, stand with me at the till and watch me pay, and then come back to my flat like this. Remember I told you sometimes I might just get random gifts, you know, see something you might need, buy it and give it to him? No. If it's not my birthday or it's not Christmas, I would never see or smell a gift. Even something like Valentine's Day or Christmas, he'll wait to see if I'm getting a gift first. Then that's the only time that he'll get me one. And his reason will be, why I can't let you get me a present and not give one back. Not, oh, because I love you. Not, oh, because I thought you'd love this. Not, oh, let's celebrate together. No, you got me one, so I have to give one back. And when I say gift, I use that term lightly. These weren't gifts. I was just saying in passing one time that I wanted this phone case. And he decided to wait a whole year until my birthday to surprise me with said phone case. My birthday gift was a phone case. So one time when I've got no groceries left because they've been inhaled by this whale, so I was like, there's nothing to eat and there's nothing to cook. And he said, and I quote,
yeah, well, I'm not sure what you're going to do about that then.
What? So now this is where I got annoyed and I was like, you should offer to buy me food. Like, do I have to spell it out? And he said, and I quote,
how is it fair that you're hungry and it falls on me?
Hang on guys, can we remember something really quickly? So when I now started speaking up and complaining about things were being done, but being done by force. So before we would never go on dates, right? This is something I had to complain about. Disclaimer, anything this guy did or ever bought, anything of the sort, was always after many fights, many complaints, many arguments. He genuinely never did anything of his own accord. So once I've jousted him for simple date nights, his idea of effort was to only book dates that were available on Groupon. Now, for any Americans or any international people watching this, I don't know what Groupon is. It's a food discount app, okay? 2-for-1 deals, 2 for £25, 2 for £19, and mainly at random pubs and random restaurants like Pizza Express. Like, they're not nice, period. They're not nice, okay? Any place I suggested, say that I want to go, he will check first if it's on Groupon. And if it's not on Groupon, we're not going. Now, 2 for £25 means 2 of us are going hungry. But when he was with his mates, he'll be going to Nobu and Novikov. But when it's me, is it on Groupon? You'll be pleased to know I eventually put my foot down and guess what? I just said I'm leaving. I'm leaving because you don't want to do anything for me, okay? It's obvious. I have to tell you to do any and every little thing for me. I don't want that.
Please, no, I know what to do. I can change. I swear.
I'm not even joking, that's how he would actually react. Like, I would block and he would buy SIM cards just to contact me again. So I'm like, okay, you want to make an effort? Let's hear it. So we went to a restaurant and then we stayed at a hotel after. And in the morning I asked him, could you get me breakfast, please? Because he was the kind of guy that if you don't ask, he's not going to offer you anything. And I wanted to see the effort. I give a lot, I just want to be given back now. So he was like, yeah, sure, that's fine. So then I went on my phone to look on things on Uber Eats to see what I wanted to get. And he immediately starts pretending to be asleep. So I was like, oh, I found what I want to get. Can I have your phone, please? And he was like, it's been 45 seconds. You're not in REM sleep right now. Bring me that. So yeah, he was like,
What? Oh yeah, here you go.
So I ordered the breakfast. I'm thinking everything's cool, everything's calm, everything's fine. We're driving back home now and he's silent the whole journey. I'm telling you right now, he was livid. He was driving like this. He was filled with rage. So I was like, is everything okay? And he was like, yeah,
no, it's fine, it's fine.
And now when he drops me home, about half an hour later, I'm seeing 3 pages of paragraphs being annoyed that he got me breakfast. Why did you ask me to get you breakfast when you could have got it yourself? I was trying to sleep and you told me that I have to get you breakfast. Meanwhile, I paid for the hotel. Why should I pay for breakfast? And then I was just like, what is all of this about? Like, breakfast was £8 and he goes, don't gaslight me! You know what? Nah, that's it. At that point, I was actually done. I said, no, I can't do this. I could not be in a relationship like this. Getting 3-page paragraphs because you bought somebody £8 worth of breakfast is crazy. At that point, I'm sorry, I'm not for you.
Told him black and white doesn't mix and he doesn't believe in him and I. Unwind with me while I tell you who the F's family I married into. Let me start off with this. You definitely think you know somebody until you get pregnant. When I first met my husband, his mom and dad were not together. They couldn't even sit together at his football games. His dad was with another woman. He wasn't really in his life. He only came back around about 2 years ago, right when I got pregnant. I was young and pregnant, and my pregnancy was basically kept a secret from everybody outside of his direct family. His parents were very upset about us not being married. I did not want to hide it. I was posting on my social medias about me being pregnant while other family members were blocked from seeing it, just so they wouldn't know. Before I was pregnant and we moved in together, I was long distance, so I flew out to see him and his family from time to time, obviously mainly just him. I didn't really know them too well. And then I got pregnant and he had already been living with me in Texas by then. During my entire pregnancy, he encouraged his mom to text me to build a relationship to get to know me, considering I was carrying their first grandchild and she was all the way out in Alabama and we were in Texas. And he just knew how important it was to me that her and I had a good relationship. Let's just say she found it rather difficult to reach out to me and send text to me. It seemed more like a chore for her. In my pregnancy, my husband's dad posted a Confederate flag on his Facebook. I commented, "That's racist." He blocked my number and started talking about me in his comment section. Obviously not good things. This was a 50-year-old man I didn't even know, and I'm 21 years old and pregnant. Nobody mouthed a word about it, nobody batted an eye about it, nothing was said about it. Nobody saw a problem with it. That was obviously my first red flag. During my baby shower when my child was born, I was not posted at all. When my child was born, you would have thought my husband was a single dad that miraculously sat there and gave birth to her on his own. I'm not tagged in the photos, so I don't even think I was mentioned. Keep in mind, I had already asked people not to take pictures with my daughter when they got to the hospital before I gave birth. Everybody still did. They took pictures all together with my daughter, not with me, none including me. Nobody even asked me. They said they knew I didn't want pictures of her being taken. But yet, you're taking pictures with her and posting them, while still not asking me if I want to be in them. His dad did not show up to the hospital for our daughter's birth. He did not even pick up the phone to call. Nothing was said about that. There was no uproar about it. Nothing. Fast forward, my daughter's 3 months old and we moved to Alabama. I was postpartum, struggling, left all of my friends and family behind of 10 plus years in Texas. And if you've watched anything about my adoption story or just know me in general, you know postpartum for me was I started to speak up about not having a bond, being left out of post, even just walking around and feeling left out. Sometimes it literally felt like I was the third wheel in my own relationship. We brought it up multiple times, clearly and respectfully. They kept telling us we were overthinking it. It was just social media. But when it came to me telling people that they couldn't post my daughter, it was never just social media. All of a sudden, then it became a problem. Then it was more than social media to them. Fast forward to his brother now saying racial slurs. His brother obviously invited us to his wedding. After my husband had already told him multiple times about how he felt about him saying the N-word and that it offended us and hurt us, and him refusing to stop. After his brother refused to stop saying all the racial slurs, I finally took a shot and said, I hope Emma, their sister, isn't riding around her new car saying the N-word like her brothers are. That got me uninvited to his brother's wedding. Not by his brother, but by his dad. They wanted my husband to show up at the wedding without me and my daughter, and stand by his dad that had already told him that he does not believe black and white should mix, and by his brother who was saying the N-word and racial slurs and would not stop. My husband did not go to the wedding. You wouldn't believe the uproar that came with us not going to the wedding, or him not going to the wedding. I wish there would have been that big of an uproar when their dad missed my child's birth. His son's first child's birth. But again, nothing about that. His brother never got mad at their dad for uninviting him to the wedding. He got mad at my husband for not coming to the wedding. His brother and his wife were pregnant before their wedding. And they announced they were pregnant even though they weren't married. Everybody was upset for a few weeks. And boy oh boy did the support and cheering just come rolling in. Support my husband and I would have died for when it was our turn. Let's not mention people who had a huge problem with me not letting them hold my daughter. People I didn't know, people who didn't want to take the extra step or extra mile to get to know me or include me. People who stood by a man who said racial slurs, a man who thinks black and white shouldn't mix, a man who bullies and belittles his own child, to the point where my husband, a 25-year-old man, came home crying because of how disgusted he was with the things he said about me and my daughter, my husband's family. So that I barely knew that had a problem with me not letting them hold my daughter, with all of my postpartum anxiety and fear. Well, that just caused tension, and people told me I was holding that baby over their heads as if she was an object. Again, coming from people who didn't even take the extra step to build a relationship with me. His mom says she doesn't understand why she has to. Her mother-in-law never did her. My sister and I semi-got along until the being left out of post and things just kept reoccurring, and I finally snapped and had enough. We got into an argument. She said she didn't want to be one of my bridesmaids for my wedding anymore. I said mean things. She said mean things. She said she didn't see the problem with it. I said, that's fine, but you're not going to include my daughter, not me. You know anything about me, you know my big dream is to have a big, loving family. inclusive family. The last thing I'm going to be left out is anything involving my daughter or my husband, my family that I created. I was always clear and respectful when asking them not to include my daughter in posts if I was in it because it made me feel excluded. It still seemed to be a problem, still were forgetting to. So finally, enough was just enough. Can't take the extra step to include me, but you can your other siblings, partners, or my child, then that's fine by me. But me and my daughter will not be a part of it. We don't want anything to do with it, especially not after I brought it to your attention over and over again. Especially not after I'm out here in a different state alone, postpartum, 21 years old. When we were planning my wedding, Josh, my brother's husband, showed up at the tuxedo shop. My husband, Jonathan, was meeting his other brother there because his other brother was one of our groomsmen. Josh ended up standing outside and talking with us for about an hour. I was sitting inside the car with my daughter. Josh leaned inside the car and was telling me about how his daughter had the sniffles and coughs. I literally asked him what the symptoms were, and he was watching me type and look them up. Came up with suggestions, tips, tricks, just trying to help out. And I sent them to him. A week later, I got a nasty text from his wife upset about it. She said they didn't need advice, they could handle it on their own. To text him, talk to him, whatever. I told her that he was telling us about it. I guess he lied to his wife because she insisted that that was not the truth. My husband and I and his brother can vouch and say that you were leaned inside of the car talking to me. Your head was all the way inside the car. We get into it. She starts mom shaming me about not breastfeeding. She wouldn't know anything about because she was never there postpartum. I proceed to tell her that her daughter will get beat up by mine, my daughter. She then goes around twisting my words, saying that I threatened to beat up her child. Right before our wedding, Jonathan's dad tried to convince him to leave me and take their child, as if Jonathan and him even had a relationship theirself. The man who belittles and bullies him didn't show up for his child's birth, didn't even pick up the phone and call. After all this, we cut them off. 2 people showed up to our wedding, his mom and his little brother. They spoke 1 sentence to me. My husband does not talk to any of them. Some of his family members last week made a fake Tinder account and leaked my number on it. I know because their partner literally snitched them out to me. A lot of you ask why I stay with my husband who has a family like that. Really because he's breaking the cycle. He cut them off. He has enough respect and love for our daughter and I that he will cut off anybody no matter who you are. As a mom and a wife, I will absolutely stand by somebody who can do that for me and my daughter. Our child. God has never acknowledged our daughter. He acts like she does not exist. Literally does not claim her. But I can say this, I would never stand by a man who would ever treat our child like that. The bullying, the belittling, I would leave my husband before he ever spoke a word of hate to our children or anybody they loved, especially while they're carrying our grandchild. And most importantly, I would walk away in a heartbeat if he did not love and support one of our children. That's the job we signed up for when we became parents. That's the calling we accepted, to love unconditionally, not selectively.
My dead sister just WhatsApped me a voice note, and that makes as much sense to me as it does to you. My sister Mia died in 2021. It was a car accident and it was instant, so there were no goodbyes, no last words. She was my best friend. She was the loud one, the protector. She was 3 years older than me and she never once let me feel alone. I always knew I had her. After she died, I didn't leave my bed for a month. I didn't eat, I didn't sleep. I just kept texting her, calling her phone to hear her voicemail, hear her voice like she was still around. Eventually I stopped, and I guess I forced myself to move on because I deleted her number and I got a new phone. I was trying to make sure there was no way I could let myself be stuck in that place whilst the whole world moves forward without me. Fast forward to last week, I was in work and I got a WhatsApp notification. It was from a random UK number. There was no profile picture, no name, just a message. It read, "You need to come to the lake." I froze because the lake was where we used to go when we were kids. Mia would always take me there when it got too loud at home. It was our safe place and nobody else knew about it. Nobody else knew that that was where we went. So I replied thinking somebody has to be messing with me. Maybe Mia told somebody. Somebody knows. So I message back and I say, "Who is this?" And then I received a voice note. I almost didn't open it because I was already scared at this point, but curiosity got the better of me, and I did end up opening the voice note. It was 4 seconds long, crackly and broken, but it was her voice. All she said was, "Look under the water." I dropped my phone. I swear I felt her breath in the room, like she was standing right behind me. I couldn't sleep that night, nor the next, and eventually I went to the lake. I had never been to the lake alone, not without Mia. It had always been our place, our safe place. I didn't go in the lake, I couldn't. I just stood there, waiting for something to make sense. And that's when I noticed it. A stone. One small stone sitting on the dock with letters scratched into it. My name. I had no idea what this meant or who had done it, but I turned the stone over and I read the words, "Don't trust Dad." I stared at it for so long I thought I was going to pass out. Because here's the thing. After Mia died, Dad changed. And I don't mean in your typical grieving way. It was different. He was lighter. He smiled more. He said weird things like, some things are meant to happen to make room for peace. And I always told myself that it was his grief, because people grieve in different ways. But standing there, reading that stone with her voice note still reeling in my head, look under the water. I knew I had to get in that water. And inside, I found this tin box. It took me hours to get that box open when I got home. I ended up having to pry it open with a screwdriver. I found photos, printed photos, all of me and Mia from when we were kids, but these weren't normal family photos. These were secret, like they'd been taken from behind trees or through windows, like somebody had been watching us for years. And right at the bottom of the box, taped to the inside, was an ultrasound with Mia's name on it. She was pregnant, and the date on that ultrasound was 4 weeks before she died. I'm sitting on my bedroom floor holding this tin box that I found at the lake with my sister's ultrasound inside. And my brain just shatters, because nobody ever told me that my sister was pregnant. Not my parents, not her boyfriend, not even her. And all I keep thinking is, why would she hide that? Unless she didn't. Unless somebody else hid it for her. That night, I called my mum. I didn't even know what I was going to say. I just needed to tell somebody what I'd found. I told my mum about the box. I didn't even mention the ultrasound at this point before she said, "You need to stop looking into all of this." There was no hello, no what are you talking about, just that, straight away. So I said, "You knew, didn't you?" And she went silent for so long that I thought the line had dropped out. Then she whispered, "He'll hear me." And I said, "Who? Dad?" And then she just hung up. That was 3 days ago, and she hasn't answered since. I've tried calling, I've tried texting, and eventually I went by the house. My mum's car was there, but it was my dad that answered the door. He told me that my mum had gone up north to visit her sister for a little while, but I was more than welcome to go inside. And normally I would never have had a problem with being in a house by myself with my dad, but right now, there was this glint in his eye. And there was something stopping me from asking, how did Mum get up north to see her sister if she didn't take her car? I was scared. So I got back in my car. I drove round the corner, I pulled up, and I got my phone out to call my aunt. My aunt, who had no idea what I was talking about. Because she and my mum had no plans for my mum to stay. And she hadn't spoken to my mum in weeks. After I got off the phone to my aunt, who had absolutely no idea what I was talking about, I just sat in my car shaking, watching my parents' house from down the road. And then something happened that made my heart stop. My dad came out. He walked straight to my mum's car, got in and drove it into the garage. And then closed the garage door, like he realised it was a loose thread he needed to tie up. So now I know 2 things. 1, my mum is missing. And 2, she was terrified of somebody hearing her the last time we spoke. And that someone was probably my dad. That night I couldn't sleep. I just kept thinking, what else did I not know about Mia? So I did something I swore I would never do. I texted her boyfriend. We hadn't spoken since the funeral, but I texted him a picture of the ultrasound and said, "Did you know?" He didn't reply for nearly a full day, but when he did, he didn't answer the question. He just said, "Where did you find that?" So I told him about the tin box. I told him about the lake. The only thing I didn't tell him about was the voice note that I received from Mia. And then he sent me something. It was a screen recording of a voicemail that was left by Mia. You could barely hear her voice. She was shaking and scared, but one thing I heard very clearly. "If anything happens to me, it's all under the floorboard at the back of my closet. Don't trust either of them." I have to go back to that house. For answers. For Mia. I didn't want to go back. But I knew I had to. So I waited until 2:30 a.m. that same night. I let myself into my mum and dad's house as silently as I could. I made my way upstairs, and as I passed their bedroom, I looked in. And I saw my mum in bed with my dad, not missing at all. And then I made my way to my sister's bedroom. I got down on my hands and knees, heart pounding, and I started lifting the floorboards at the back of her closet. And I found it. A small dusty box, taped shut like it was meant to keep all of the secrets locked away. And inside I found her diary. The entries were encrypted like she was saying exactly what she meant without really saying it. About somebody watching her constantly. About this secret that she couldn't tell anyone, not me, not her boyfriend. As I read on, the entries got darker and darker. And one in particular stood out. It read, "He's always there, waiting. I can feel it. The lies are everywhere, and no one believes me. He chose me, and Mum chose him every time." She ended the entry with, "He will do anything to get rid of his secret." That's when I realised this wasn't a family tragedy. This was a cover-up, a nightmare hiding in plain sight. And I am scared that this proof, this evidence that I am now holding in my hands, will eventually be my downfall as well.
So one time during our graduation season, it was super, super busy one night. And we were integrating our new waitlist system. It was one of the ones where you could put your name in and your phone number so that we can send you a text to let you know your table was ready. So I'm helping out at the hosting because we are mod. We have about 8 large parties deep in the line just trying to get on the wait list. And so this guy comes in and he's huge. He comes straight to the host stand, bypasses everybody in line. And he's like, "Yo, I need a table for 5. So I look at him. I'm like, okay, 1 minute. So I go back to talking to the lady that I was talking to. So he stands there and he's like, "Hey, yo, did you hear what I just said?" So I look at him and I say, "Hey, yo, do you see what I'm doing? I'm talking to people that arrived before you that are trying to get on the wait list. If you want to get on the wait list for a table, you have to wait until I finish talking to all of these people." So he doesn't move. He just stands there with his arms folded, just staring at me the whole time. And even though I'm trying to get them seated, I'm the hostess with the mostest times 10. Now I'm asking about certain accommodations and booths and birthdays. "Oh, your kids are cute. Do we need this? Do we need that?" I'm trying to do the most just to prolong his time for waiting. So it's finally his turn and I greet him like I've never seen him before. "Hey, how are you? Welcome. What can I get for you today?" And that pisses him off. And he's like, "You know, I've been standing here for a table." So I'm like, "Okay, well, how many are in your party?" And he's like, "I told you 5. So I'm like, "Okay, no problem. What's the name?" He was like, "The name? What do you need a name for? I didn't have to give you a name the last time." So I'm like, "Well, last time is not this time. We are super, super busy because of graduation season. If you would like to have a table, I definitely need your name." He's like, "Come on, man, just put J down on there." So I'm like, "Okay, cool. J, party at 5. I also need your phone number. That way I can let you know when the table's ready." I didn't have to do any of this before. Like, you playing games. All I need is a table. You can just give me a table." So I say, "Oh, this isn't a personal request. I have no desire to speak to you outside of here. I just want to make sure that we have your information so that when your table is ready, in case you're not in the lobby, you know to come down to the restaurant so we can get you seated." So he like, nah, you doing too much. You taking your job way too seriously, too much. All you got to do is give me a table. I'm not doing all that. And he storms out. So I'm like, okay, cool. I took that as he just didn't want to be sat, because in order for me to put your name on the wait list, I need your name and your phone number. And you refusing to give it to me and you storming out lets me know that you don't want to dine with us. Cool. About 40 minutes go by. He comes barreling in the front door again. And he's like, "Hey, yo, my table not ready yet?" And I'm like, "Sir, what table?" He was like, "Yo, like, stop playing. I told you, I've been here waiting for my table." I said, "Sir, I asked you for the information we needed to put you on the wait list for your table. You refused to give me the information, and then you stormed out and said you weren't doing this. How was I supposed to know that you were still waiting for a table?" He says, "Well, I came in and asked for one, didn't I?" I said, "You did, but you didn't want to give me the information I needed to secure the table." He was like, "Well, I gave you my name." I said, "You gave me your name, and you stormed out of the restaurant. Even if you gave me your name, how was I going to communicate to you that your table was ready? You weren't in the building. You stormed out." And he's like, "I was out there sitting in my car." And I say, "Well, how was I supposed to know that?" And he goes, "Well, where else would I be?" So I say, "Literally anywhere. You stormed out of the building. You could have went home. You could have went to another restaurant. Was the expectation for me to go through the parking lot, peeking through windows, hoping to see you so I can tell you that your table's ready? How was I supposed to know?" So he's like, nah, you got to get me somebody else. Get me somebody else right now. Is there anybody else I can talk to?" "Nope, just me." So he's like, "All right, well, how long for a table?" So I'm like, "Well, now it's about an hour, 20 minutes. He's like, "Oh, come on, you lying. You lying to me. You lying." And I'm like, "Sir, you're hungry. I have the food. What do I need to lie for? You can look around and see that it's busy. And so he's like, nah, I ain't waiting. I done already waited. F this and F you. And then I had a stack of menus that were on the whole stand. And he knocks them down. He storms out again. But the thing was, I definitely was lying. It wasn't going to take an hour and 20 minutes to get him set. I just didn't want to sit him at a table, him give my server a problem, me having to go over there and deal with it. It would have been a whole thing all night.
My doctor told my husband, 30 male, and I, 31 female, that our baby has many birth defects. I want to abort, but he does not. This was a planned baby, and I'm absolutely devastated. Me and my husband met in college and have been married for 6 years now. We have one son who is now 4 years old. I know some people are going to wonder, but yes, we did discuss our moral and political views before even getting engaged, and we're both pro-choice. When we were 21 and 20, we made a stupid mistake that ended in a pregnancy. We are both flat broke and not at all ready for kids. I decided to terminate, and he fully agreed with me and supported me. He loves our son so much and is an amazing father. He confided in me that he loved the idea of having a daughter as well. Luckily, we're in a good financial place, so I agreed and we started trying for baby number 2. We conceived fairly quickly and were overjoyed. We also soon discovered that we're having a girl. My husband was so excited. As soon as he was told that, he went all out and started to plan her nursery. He asked our son to help him pick which shade of pink he wanted, which crib to get, and what the theme should be. It was all so adorable. I don't want to reveal any personal medical history, so forgive me for being vague with the descriptions. At our last doctor's visit a few days ago, we were given the news that our daughter has severe birth defects. They think that she could possibly survive the birth, but any life that she gets to experience will be painful for her. There have been medical cases of babies with the same conditions to survive from early childhood to even the teenage years, rarely. These poor children suffer with so much pain and are uncomfortable their entire lives. They are very low functioning and need around-the-clock care, as well as several uncomfortable surgeries to try and give them a better quality of life. We were both heartbroken and cried for hours together in the car. Then we drove home in silence. Neither of us said anything until my husband began to quietly mumble his thoughts. He was going on and on about how we needed to schedule another doctor's appointment so we know what medical equipment we need to buy for her. We should renovate the nursery again so we could care for her more easily. He said that he'd definitely have to talk to his boss so he can take a longer paternal leave. He wants to be by her side in the NICU until we can take her home. He talked about how we'd have to ask his mom to babysit our son more often while she's a newborn. He even said that maybe we could sell one of our cars, move to a smaller house, and take our son out of private school so we'd have more money to pay for our daughter's care. I was silent until he asked me what I thought. I was blunt and said that I think we should terminate the pregnancy. Now I feel bad for saying it that way, but I was still frazzled from the news. This made him very upset. He began to cry and asked why I don't want our daughter, even with disabilities. I mentioned our previous abortion. He said it was different because it was unplanned and we had no way to take care of the child. Now we're in a pretty good place financially, so theoretically we could shoulder the cost of our daughter. I have a bit of personal history with this type of situation. My best friend in high school was at my house all the time because her parents were way too busy with her severely autistic older brother. They did love her, but she was pushed to the side her entire childhood. I told him the story. He said that we'd do better by our son and daughter. My best friend's parents were stupid for having a second kid after they already had a disabled one. He then seemed hopeful for a minute and asked if I was just afraid. He promised that he'd be by my side the whole time and we could do this together. I told him it's not about fear. Our daughter will be in pain constantly if she's born alive. It would be a short and painful life for her. I love this baby so much already. I don't want her to suffer like that. He began to yell that even if she doesn't live long, we could still pour our hearts and souls into making her life as fulfilling as possible. I didn't respond as he stormed inside. It's been a couple of days now and he won't even look me in the eyes. He sits in the nursery for hours. Our son is very confused. I know he's grieving, but I really don't want to go further with his pregnancy. I love him so much. I don't know what to do. After I made my original post, my husband and I rushed to get a second opinion. Nothing changed as it was still our original diagnosis. Once I learned that, I scheduled the termination for as soon as physically possible. I didn't tell my husband at first. He kept on raving about how we could give her as much love in her life as we can. I feel bad for this now, but I snapped and angrily told him I was terminating the pregnancy, that I know how he feels, but I will not allow my daughter to suffer just because he wants to love her. He was very angry with me after I put my foot down. After he realized his pleading wouldn't change my mind, he didn't speak a word to me. I was terrified that he'd go and leave me all alone with the scraps of our family. I tried to explain it to my son, but I think he still doesn't understand. Then, the night before the procedure, he stepped into my room and apologized for everyone and promised to be more supportive of me from now on. I was so happy and relieved I started to sob and he held me all night. My original plan was that my mom would drive me to the hospital. Then, once it's done, a close friend would take me home. Since it was only the night before, he said he couldn't miss a full day of work. but really wanted to drive me home. I agreed to let him, and then the procedure was done in the morning. My son is having a long sleepover with my best friend's family. I don't want him to see me like this. The next morning, the termination was done. It went fine with only minor physical pain, but the emotional toll was crushing. After I was done, he didn't show up to get me. I waited for hours and he wouldn't answer any of my calls. I ended up having to call a friend out from work to take me home. When we got there, I just saw one note on the counter saying he can't do this. What the fudge, he left you? A few of our daughter's special toys were removed from her nursery. My entire life has fallen apart in a matter of days. I asked my mom to watch my son for a little while. I still can't contact my husband.